Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Icyvan. Really appreciate you being here. Today we want to talk about Shadowlands Frost Mage, and let's get to it. By the way, spoiler alert, Icelanders are back! So let's talk about abilities that are coming back to the game or old ones that changed. And let's start with Icy Veins here. Like, the cooldown is basically the same, but it's coming off the global cooldown, which means you can integrate it way better into your playstyle, and it will be way more fluent to play with Icy Veins here. Next one is we are getting Arcane Explosion from Arcane Mages and the Fire Blast from the Fire Mages. I don't know about Fire Blast, maybe it's nice to use when you're like locked on your frost spells, but yeah, I don't know about this really, so not really using it right now. Arcane Explosion seems like to be a good filler spell or spell if you pull like a really big pull in dungeons, something like that. So there should be a certain threshold where Arcane Explosion is probably, like, spamming Arcane Explosion is probably the better idea than using your normal rotation, but I don't know, we have to figure this out a little bit. Yeah, next one is Arcane Intellect. It's getting down to 5% int from 10% on retail right now, which is not really a nerf or something like that. It's just because of the stat and level squish, so this is not a big deal. Then we have Frostbolt. Frostbolt generates like brain freezes on 30% right now, and it was 25%, so we're getting buffed a little bit to work against the RNG and probably yeah, devalue Frozen Touch a little bit, so we can use Chain Reaction instead of Frozen Touch, but yeah, that's not a big deal as well. Frozen Orb is like an important one because it's getting a target cap to 8 targets. Yeah, we have to see what kind of big pulls we can play in dungeons, but yeah, other classes are getting target capped as well, so Frozen Orb getting target capped is not a big surprise. Blizzard is not getting target capped, but we will see later on that the damage from Frozen Orb is way higher than Blizzard right now, so this is probably because of that. Yeah, we have to see if this is like capping us super hard, but right now it's not about the Frozen Orb damage at all. We are getting more into Iceland's damage, so we'll see what the target cap is really on the long run. And then Mirror Images and Alter Time is coming back. Alter Time is super nice defensive cooldown. So if you know the dungeons, if you know your timers in boss encounters, Alter Time is super neat defensive cooldown. You're using it one time and basically saves your location and your health status, like your health value. And after 10 seconds, you are returning to this position and your health value, or on your second use, you return to your old position and health value. So you can just use it to counter damage spikes, for example, on boss encounters. So if there's a super hard damage spike for 60%, you use Alter Time before that. You get the damage spike, and then you use it the second time, returning to your old value, which will be super neat. And you can most likely use it to do some kiting shenanigans, as you can see here, using Alter Time a second time, returning to my old position here. So yeah, we will see. Maybe we can do some nice shenanigans with it. Mirror Images, again, defensive cooldown. So they really boost our defensives here, yeah. Especially with Frost Mage having 2 ice blocks, the cold snap thing, the barriers, health pods. There's a lot to it, so we have a lot of defensive strength here. Mirror Images coming back it was an offensive cooldown until like 2 weeks ago, but they changed it to defensive cooldown. So it's not dealing a lot of damage. As you can see here, it's just basically dealing like, yeah, super low damage here. It's casting frost bolts for 80 and for 30 on crit, 80, 70 damage, so not really much. But the good thing is, it gives you 20% reduced intake damage until all your 3 mirror images are consumed. So again, super nice defensive cooldown. This is what I'm really hyped about, like mirror images and alter time, especially for progress raiding, or like high keys with a lot of damage income, or maybe we're running into one-shots on super high Mythic Plus dungeons again, and then this will be super useful, mirror images, alter time. Really hyped about that. So that's it for like old abilities and new stuff coming back. So we can get into talents now. Let's see talent rows. Because of way more damage from ice lances, Lonely Winter is becoming more viable now, and yeah, my beloved Bobby here, like my water elemental, will probably fade into nothing again. He will just have a little rest after 2.5 years of BFA. He don't want to play this anymore with me, so I'm getting into Lonely Winter after years of his service. We don't need his pet Nova right now, so press F to pay respect here. Yeah, we're going Lonely Winter because it is increasing Iceland's damage and flurry by 25%. So this will be the way to go here. With Shimmer coming back to 2 charges, it was 1 charge like 2 months ago or something like that. They tried to cap us on 1 charge of Shimmer, but we returned to 2 charges. So yeah, for me Shimmer is like the best pick here. Mobility is still great, and it's a good way to cheese a lot of mechanics. They just increased the cooldown to 25 seconds from 20 seconds, but I don't care. Like, it's just super neat. Shimmer is too big for me. Especially because you can blink through some mechanics you can't walk through. I would say Icy Flows may be nice as well if you are like more of a hardcaster, but with the changes to Ice Lances, we have a lot of high mobility. We can move around a lot. So this will be a big change for us in Shadowlands, but Shimmer, yeah, this is like the best pick for sure. On the 3rd row, we have to decide between Incanter's Flow and Focus Magic. I'm waiting for Sims here, to be honest. Focus Magic, that's a new talent in this row, increases the target's chance to critical hit with spells by 5% for 30 minutes, so this is a buff you give to someone else. And when this target critical hits, your chance to critical hit with spells is increased by 5% for 10 seconds as well. So if you give this Focus Magic to like to someone with a super high crit chance, you're basically getting 5% crit all the time. But Incanter's Flow is like a safe bet, you know? It's not a gamble, Incanter's Flow. With Focus Magic, you kind of gamble, because if the target you buffed is dying, you lose this buff as well. So you're kind of relying on the other player as well, which is not a bad thing. I like group gameplay at all, so I like those buffs. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really waiting for Sims, to be honest. How good will this 5% crit chance will be, or if Incanter's Flow is just the safe one, you know, like statistic wise. We're waiting for this. Rune of Power is automatically dropping with Icy Veins now. This is a better feature for Fire Mages and Arcane Mages. I don't see me playing Rune of Power here, even though it's dropping with Icy Rains. But Icy Rains has a 3-minute cooldown. I don't think this is worth it. So I'm probably sticking to Incanter's Flow and Focus Magic. So this will be the way to go here. Chain Reaction plays into the hand with Ice Lance buff overall. So Frozen Touch, look at this. It's just giving Frostbolt 20% more chance to generate Fingers of Frost and Brain Freeze. We're not casting Frostbolts a lot. You can see this in like the rotation part later on, but Frostbolt is not a thing, so it's not worth it to buff Frostbolts at all. But instead we're going for the Chain Reaction. Ice Lances against frozen targets increase the damage of your Ice Lances by 3%, stacking up. You're using Ice Lances a lot, so this has a very nice uptime here. So Chain Reaction definitely the way to go. No changes to Ebon Bolt here. This will be the dead. This will probably be the dead talent in this row. Let's go to the next row, level 40. This is the utility row. Frigid Winds, like more slows to your target, which is nice. It's getting down from 15% to 10%. So we're getting like streamlined with other classes regarding our slows a little bit. But this is okay. If you really want to use slows like, for example, in Necrotic Weeks or something like that, you can go with that. You can even opt out of it because of Sanguine Weeks, for example. No problem. Ice Ward again, 2 charges of Frost Nova. No changes here. The Ring of Frost is getting an additional effect. If the targets are getting out of your Ring of Frost, they get an slow effect after the incap. So some additional utility for Ring of Frost here, but you can freely pick whatever you need. Like maybe regarding the dungeons, kind of depending on what you want to play. Yeah, next row, Freezing Rain, Splitting Ice, Comet Storm. No changes so far, so we're going with Splitting Ice because it's enhancing our Ice Lance damage, and yeah, this is just the ways to go with Ice Lances. Ice Lance is dealing 5% increased damage, and you're splitting all the time, so that's a nice pick for the Ice Lance build here. And on the last row, we're going into Thermal Void here because your Ice Lances are increasing the duration of your Icy Veins. And with this build and the spam of Ice Lances you are getting like a 1-minute Icy Vein, round about that. I think it's 1-minute Icy Vein that time. So this is what I'm playing right now, and I think what will be good here with the actual build. Alright, Covenant abilities. Let's get into Covenant abilities real quick. So I will rank this from, like, in my opinion, the worst to the best. We have like four Covenants, and it's Ventir, Necrolord, Night Fae, and Kyrian. And we're starting with my rank 4, which is the Ventir Covenant, like the Edgelords. Door of Shadows can be a nice thing as an ability, especially if you like mobility, but with Frost Mages, we do not like mobility at all. With Shimmer and Altered Time and maybe Spatial Rift if you're a Void Elf, you have a lot of mobility, though. There's a Soulbind that gives your Door of Shadow a disorient effect to all nearby enemies, so you can use it as like a crowd effect to interrupt spells, for example, in dungeons. But I don't know if this really is a big deal. Maybe this is a sleeper agent, especially if you need more crowd control in dungeons, but I don't see it right now. The Mirrors of Torment, the main ability, is tied to your target casting spells or using abilities, and then getting damage. This could be a problem with bosses or trash that like don't use abilities at all, or maybe for a longer time, and in general seems like to be a way better pick for PvP instead of PvE. Rank 3 will be Necrolords. Flashcraft is an extra shield from time to time and kinda useful. So nothing more to say about Flashcraft, so this could be useful. Just put it that way. The main ability, Deathborn, transform you into a skeletal mage, and you hit up 2 extra targets with your Frostbolt, and gives you an extra cleave. With heavy Iceland's focus damage now, this is useless for Frost Mages because we do not use Frostbolts a lot. So we have Splitting Ice anyway, and dealing extra Wet Noodle Frostbolt damage to 2 extra targets don't really feel good at all. This is something for Arcane Mages, but for me it's a no-no for Frost Mages, so sorry Necrolords. Rank 2 will be Night Fae. Soul Shape seems to be a super fun ability, turning you into a Vulpin, Spirit Fox thing, and it teleports you, giving you movement speed as well. So that's a very nice movement cooldown. But again, main ability worries me the most, Shifting Power. You're doing AoE damage over 6 seconds to enemies within 15 yards, and you reset your cooldowns for 1.5 seconds for every second you cast, so basically 9 seconds overall. Problem is you have to move into groups and then deal with melee mechanics on top of your ranged mechanics, and you have to manage to use the full channeling cast time of Shifting Power while doing this, so it doesn't really feel good, to be honest. Which leads to my rank 1, which will be Kyrian. We get the Summon Steward kinda weird slave bird thing that gives us the Vial of Serenity, and this is an extra health pot. It does not share cooldown with your actual health pot or health stone, so super nice defensive wise, and it removes curses, diseases, poisons, and bleeding effects. This is giving you even more survivability. Hell, the main ability is called Radiant Spark. At first, it gives a normal damage over time to your target, which is not really hitting hard like the same as Frostbolts, but it's also increasing your damage to the target for 10 seconds each time you hit, up to 4 times, equals 40% damage on your 4th damage spell. And it's kinda hard to predict all your procs with Frost Mages from time to time, so maybe it will be hard to get your highest or your biggest damage spell as your 4th spell on the target to make the best use out of the Radiant Spark, but it still is like the best thing to play here. Seems like to have the best outcome, even if you fuck it up from time to time or you have to munch a lot of procs, but Kyrian seems like to have the best outcome. Alright, let's get into the rotation stuff. We are playing the Frozen Orb legendary. While Frozen Orb is active, you gain Fingers of Frost every 2.5 seconds. While Frozen Orb is not active, each Frostbolt reduces the cooldown of Frozen Orb by 2.5 seconds, which is in addition to the normal Blizzard reset of your cooldown, which is a super nice combination. Alright, so let's get into it. We're basically using Frozen Orb and Blizzard on cooldown, using Icy Veins to enhance damage here, and we want to use Radiant Spark together with our Brain Freeze procs. So by using it together with Brain Freeze procs, we're getting the best damage result out of the 4 stacks of Radiant Spark damage amplification. And yeah, let's see. Popping Frozen Orb here, going with the Blizzard, using Icy Veins, and now consuming the Fingers of Frost procs. Getting some Frost Bolts on our targets to reset the Frozen Orb, and we're waiting for the first Brain Freeze proc now to use Radiant Spark. There it is. We're going for Radiant Spark, now consuming our Brain Freeze and shattering 2 times. Don't forget to shatter 2 times because Winter's Chill now applies 2 stacks of shatter buff debuff basically on your target, so you don't want to miss that. Alright guys, and that's it basically. So I will leave you with a few more impressions of the rotation gameplay here, and yeah, that's what I play on beta Frost Mage right now. I would like to know what kind of spec you are playing right now. Maybe I'm on the wrong path here, or maybe I'm wrong about some of the abilities or rotation stuff, and you have like better ideas. So tell me in the comments. Would be nice to see more Frost Mages out there. And guys, as always, peace and out.